What's up, shit? Tim is here. Now, since it is also his birthday today, and since he's also in that new Ryan Murphy FX series called The Beauty coming out on Wednesday, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite Evan Peters projects. Whether they're films, series, majority of the projects here are actually more TV centric than movie centric. He actually has a wide range of TV shows more than movies, in my opinion. Uh, but the guy is still really talented. He also, I believe, yeah, he also won an Emmy. Like, the guy is always incredible. So, here is my official top 10 favorite Evan Peters projects. All right. Number 10 is the show called Pose. Pose is set in the late 1980s New York City ballroom scene, and it takes place in the late 1980s and 90s. Explores chosen family identity and survival during the AIDS crisis. And here you got Evan Peters who plays Stan Brownie, who's like a employee who navigates love, ambitious guilt. He really brings quiet sensei to his character. Other great cast members, you got Billy Porter, who's great, MJ Rodriguez, and Dia Mora, Dominic Jackson. It's such a really good series. Of course, it only lasted for about three seasons, I believe, like from 2018 to 2021. It was a really decent show with great performances by Peters, by some of the other cast members. Really love the New York City, settings, 80s, 90s settings. It's such a really good one. Like the fashion was pretty good and all that. All right, number 9 is American Animals. Now, American Animals is directed by Bob Layton, who also has that new Chris Hemsworth movie coming out next month called Crime 101. Now, American Animals is based on a true story of 4 college students who attempt a daring art heist, blending documentary interviews with narrated storytelling. It is led by Evan Peters, Barry Keoghan. I think this is actually one of his better performances. He really plays his part very well. His chemistry with Barry Keoghan is terrific. And Dowd is also in this. Former Glee star Blake Jenner is also in this as well. It's such a really decent a decent film, decent heist movie. Crazy to believe this is based on a true story, but it really is a really decent film there. All right, number 8 is more like a guest appearance, I should say, and that is WandaVision. Now, of course, this is when Evan Peters came in the MCU as a Pietro Maximoff character, which I still remember watching. I still remember watching this episode of WandaVision. I'm like, are we actually going to see Aaron Taylor Johnson coming in as Quicksilver? Because we haven't really seen that Quicksilver, since he got killed in Age of Ultron and stuff. So I really thought we were going to get Aaron Taylor Johnson coming back in on. But then the door opened and booyah, it was Evan Peters, which I was still really shocked that we actually got Evan Peters instead of Johnson there. But he still played the part very well. Like, I really quite like seeing him popping up here. He actually has a little bit of really good chemistry with Elizabeth Olsen here. It's such a really decent guest appearance in my opinion. All right. Speaking of Aaron Taylor Johnson, by the way, Johnson and Peters did, of course, work together before, if you guys don't remember. And that comes in at number 7. That is Kick-Ass. Of course, here you got Evan Peters, who plays David's best friend, Todd Haynes. And I really quite like their, little dynamic chemistry with one another. He would actually go on to get replaced for the sequel, though. So there's that. But it was pretty cool seeing like both Evan Peters and Aaron Taylor Johnson together in this, because they will obviously go on to play Quicksilver. Evan obviously will go on to play Quicksilver in the X-Men films and WandaVision, obviously, and Johnson will go on to play Quicksilver in the MCU. So seeing like those two playing Quicksilver together here is still always really hilarious. But yeah, and Evan definitely had some really fun moments in this too. I mean, but I feel like his character didn't really have much promise until the sequel, and of course that was not Evan Peters in the sequel, so there's that. But it was still a pretty fun role, to say the least. All right, now we're on the American Horror Story train. Number 6, it is American Horror Story Murder House. Now, when the next season of American Horror Story premieres, I will probably do my ranking of the American Horror Story franchise down the line. But American Horror Story Murder House, where a family moves into a haunted LA home, unaware that is like a dark history binds that living and the dead in horrific ways here. And one of like here's most iconic roles to date. Tate is like this deeply troubled teen whose tragic past, violent action, and doom romance makes him for like very both horrifying, heartbreaking human here. You do also got like Jessica Lange, Dylan McDermott, Taissa Farmiga pops up. It's definitely a really decent installment of American Horror Story. Very creepy uh, throughout. Such a really good one there. Coming in at number 5 is American Horror Story Freak Show. This is set in 1950s Florida Carnival and explores like exploration, prejudice, and humanity. And of course, you have folks like Micah Chiklis popping up, Kathy Bates, and here you got Pierce who plays Jimmy Darling, who is known as Lobster Boy, who's like at the moral center of the season, and he portrays him with like very tender, angry, deeply human here, and he definitely has an interesting performance throughout. Probably one of my favorite of Peter's American Horror Story roles. Really, such a good one there. All right, coming in at number 4 is American Horror Story Roanoke. Now, this is presented as a show within a show, and it dramatizes the haunted farmhouse and the mysterious disappearance of the Roanoke colony. And Pierce plays Edward Philippi Mott, who plays like the eccentric 18th century aristocrat, obsessed with like art and legacy and portrayal. Uh, Here, and of course, you do got like Sarah Paulson because it's American Horror Story, obviously. Cuba Gooding Jr. pops up in this. I still remember seeing American Horror Story Roanoke when it first dropped. The name did not really pop. It was not the name actually did not pop up until you actually watch the show itself. Like before the show ever premiered. This is actually was like one of the first for the American Horror Story franchise. Like when American Horror Story show premieres, it'll tell you what what the name's gonna be and stuff. Nope, you have to literally watch the show to find like towards the end is when they tell you what the show's name is. I still remember like interesting TV experience I met. So yeah, a really decent stomach say at least. All right, coming in at number 3 is American Horror Story Cult. Now he's done so many other American Horror Story shows. I could have just flooded this list with American Horror Story, but I just decided to go with the better ones that he's in. And this is saying like the aftermath of the 2016 election because this season came out around time when of course the 2016 election came around with Donald Trump winning and stuff, and obviously they were trying to capitalize on the on that presidential election stuff. I still remember like they were trying to say I think it was called Make America Horror Story Great Again or something like that, which I know there was like people who were complaining saying, "Oh, come on, don't make political stuff out of American Horror Story here and there." But I still thought Cult was a really good one. And it's set during the aftermath of the 2016 election and explores political paranoia, cult mentality through like a group of manipulation, fear to gain power here. And here you got Evan Pierce who plays Scott Anderson. He delivers like one of the most unhinged performances as Scott, who's a charismatic yet terrifying cult leader. Like he definitely has a look. I admit, definitely feels a little bit like a MAGA type character, really in a weird way. But Evan Pierce does play the part very well, very creepy at times. It's such a really interesting performance, say at least. Again, when the new season of American Horror Story drops, I will definitely be doing my ranking of the American Horror Story franchise. Maybe I'll wait till after the new one, then I'll do it. But anyway, number 2. Speaking of Quicksilver, number 2 is X-Men: Days of Future Past. Obviously, Evan Pierce stole the show in this. His little iconic moment where he of course pauses everything and he runs fast and stuff like that and all this. I don't know. That's just an iconic moment in the like one of my single favorite moment of the Fox era X-Men films in my opinion. And he just does such a great, like pretty much stealing the movie with his breaking performance, wide cracking speed. his iconic slow motion scene. The kitchen scene becomes like it's pretty much one of the most iconic scenes in comic book movie history, in my opinion. It's such a good performance there, and he does such a good job. Such a, and he of course would go on to reprise his role as Quicksilver again. He had a little cameo in Deadpool 2. Part of me was hoping that he'll pop up in Deadpool Wolverine, but that didn't happen. Who knows if we're ever going to get him back? And of course, he did reprise his role again in Agatha All Along. Who knows if we're ever going to see him as Quicksilver again? That's weird to see, but I do hope we get to see him come back as a role. I always wish they did a spin-off with the character. I don't know why they never done that, but anyway. And my number one favorite role is the one that actually won him a couple of awards. I think he actually won an Emmy. I gotta check that, but that is Munster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. I think this is his best role. Like for a career where he played characters from American Horror Story, where he played Quicksilver and all. I think this is probably the best performance he's put out. Playing the role of Jeffrey Dahmer, which chronicles the life of serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, focusing on not just the crimes but the victims and the failures that allow Dahmer to evade justice here. And man, he was so creepy at times. Really this is probably my favorite performance that someone gave at Jeffrey Dahmer. There's been other actors who played Jeffrey Dahmer before. Ross Lynch played Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeremy Renner was Jeffrey Dahmer one time. I think this is the best performance I've seen out of someone playing Jeffrey Dahmer. He just says, that one, of course, scene became a meme here where, he kidnaps one of his victims. And he said, once we're done with this movie, you can leave. That literally became a meme now. But such a really good performance. I think he actually did one of them. I got to check that. But I know he won a couple of other award recognitions here and there. It is a good performance, to say the least. Other actors who played other killers in this Munsterverse, whether it's the actors who played the Menendez brothers or Charlie Hunnam as Ed Gein, I think out of all the performances, Evan Pierce gave the better performance in my opinion. But of course, that's pretty much it there. Oh, and Niecy Nash Best was great as well. But anyway, here's my quick rundown. Number 10, Pose. 9, American Animals. 8, WandaVision. 7, Kick-Ass. 6, American Horror Story Murder House. 5, American Horror Story Freak Show. 4, American Horror Story Roanoke. 3, American Horror Story Code. 2, American Horror X-Men Days of Future Past. And number 1 is Munster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Now, there are a few other ones I could have included as well. All right. Mayor of Easttown is another good one. Let's see what else we got here. American Horror Story Apocalypse. American Horror Story Hotel. Coven. Asylum. He appeared on The Office. The Mentalist. One Tree Hill. House. Oh, I forgot he was on Phil of the Future. I always keep forgetting he was on that show. Been a while since I've seen that, really. Of course, Dark Phoenix, definitely not. Wish. Tron Ares is probably his worst performance, really. It's a shame, too, because he's such a good actor, but yeah, Tron Ares didn't do any favors for him. Elvis and Nixon. Adult World, which I believe he did Emma Roberts at one point, if I'm not mistaken. Never Back Down. And Never Back Down 2. Sleepover he appeared in, playing the character Russell SpongeBob Hayes. Who remembers Clipping Adam? There's some other good ones I could have included. But let me let you guys, what are some of your favorite Evan Pierce projects? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Tim Sire.